you as a recap, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un says that he had a almost 30-minute long conversation with his counterpart, with his U.S. counterpart, and said the conversation was, quote, very interesting. And the U.S. President Donald Trump says a lot of things will be solved tonight, if I heard that correctly. And he said he hopes that what happens tonight will lead to some wonderful situations and some great results to come after the summit tomorrow. So there I was able to spot the two leaders plus their translators, as well as the two top aides from Pyongyang and Washington, the foreign minister and the head of the United Front Department from the North Korean side, as well as the Mick Mulvaney, the acting chief of staff from the White House, and the State Secretary Mike Pompeo.
Right, it's quite a change in tone from President Donald Trump. Initially, before the summit, he tried to lower expectations, saying, we'll see, and this is just one of many more summits to come. How do you read the change in attitude from President Donald Trump, saying there's going to be something incredible tomorrow?
So from last year's experience, that President Trump always said something big, that he's going to achieve something nice, and he always mentioned that his relationship with the chairman Kim Jong-un is the key to make an achievement this time. So we don't know yet what is going on between two countries in terms of the negotiations so far. However, President Trump mentioned that there is all false reportings so far with regard to what can be achieved this time in Hanoi. So I think he's again attacking the media for the false reporting for him, and then I think that he's going to say he made a successful summit this time, regardless what kind of outcome that he's going to have this time. So what kind of criteria that we are going to have is the key to evaluate the summit this time. But for President Trump, any progress from the last year's summit would be evaluated as a success this time.
A very low bar.
Yes.
And we talked a little bit about setting up a liaison office for the two sides. For the two Koreas, it's not that difficult because it's just over the border, where they can set something on the border. But for the U.S., of course, this is going to be, it could be a tedious process, right?
So it's not going to be an easy job for the two governments to set up the liaison office in the capital of each country. However, there was an agreement between the U.S. and the North Korea in the past that they would exchange the liaison office. So since there's a template from the past, that it's not going to be that difficult. However, when U.S. government promised to have a liaison office in the past, that North Korea promised to dismantle Yongbyon, and they actually promised that they are going to remove all the existing nuclear weapons and materials and going back to NPT and going back under the IAEA.
Get receipts with a tap. Check purchase history.
Hanoi, it looks as though he might be getting straight into his vehicle, walking up that short red carpet there. Only looks to be about 50 to 100 meters long. I'm sure he'll give some brief pleasantries to the gathered officials there, but perhaps he does want to get on to the road. As Jung-hee said, there has been some speculation that he might take one or two stops on his way down to Hanoi, but absolutely nothing has been confirmed as of now. As I mentioned before, we can see the security the very heavy security we first witnessed in real time for the first time when there was the first summit between Kim Jong-un and South Korean President Moon Jae-in. We'll await to see how long they can run alongside that vehicle as the limousine prepares to make its way out of the station. We are still awaiting the appearance of Kim Jong-un. Perhaps he's just getting his things in order. The delegation is making sure they're all going to come out in the correct order.
I mean, the Vietnamese officials were getting ready for this welcoming ceremony. They put a lot of efforts in this. I mean, I even heard that the Vietnamese officials actually had a fake Kim Jong-un model, like standing, you know, in that at that Dongdang station over there, and they practiced a lot for this welcoming ceremony. I mean, you know, they've been, you know, having the red carpet, they've been cleaning up, but the most interesting part that I heard was that they had a fake Kim Jong-un, you know, standing there to have the best welcoming ceremony.
Yes, you can never be too careful with such an important person, and Vietnam will be very cautious to make sure not only Kim Jong-un but President Trump have a safe stay and a comfortable one in Vietnam for the duration of the next couple of days. It's hard to overstate how important this summit is for North Korea, the US, South Korea, and the world, but especially for Vietnam, because the eyes of the world are on how well they have prepared for this summit between the most powerful man in the world and Kim Jong-un, a man we knew very little about until a few years ago. It appears the door has been lined up with the red carpet now, a bit of manoeuvring going on. Perhaps we'll see the door open soon, and then we can continue our discussion on what happens next.
Well, one thing I want to add is that this is the first time for a North Korean leader to visit Vietnam in over 50 years. I mean, the previous time that a North Korean leader has visited Vietnam is in 1958 and in 1964. Okay, we're seeing North Korean leader's sister Kim Yo-jong coming out of the train. She is a very close aide to North Korean leader. She's getting back in
She got
the
back
train.
in
Yes.
the train, yeah.
I guess she's getting ready for this welcoming ceremony as well.
Yeah. So we are expecting North Korean leader Kim Jong-un to step off that train in a couple of minutes' time. High stakes summit. We are all hoping that the two leaders, the President of the United States and the Chairman of North Korea, can really hammer out something tangible, something that is going to get the denuclearization process back on track, and hopefully there is talk about the potential for some declaration to end the Korean War. That truly would be remarkable as well. We await to see Kim Jong-un. The last time we saw him in public, Jung-hee, would have been a few months ago, really, apart from some still photos or some propaganda videos out of North Korea's. And here we see now, Kim Jong-un is departing from the train wearing his traditional black suit there. He is making his way. It's a touch dark right now, but he's going to shake hands with the North Korean officials who have been already locked in negotiations about drawing up a declaration that will come out after this summit. So let's keep our eye on the video, shall we, Jung-hee?
Yes, and there we see top North Korean officials lined up to come out after North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong-un just received a, received some flowers from the Vietnamese officials, and there we see North Korea's top nuclear negotiator Kim Yong-chol, who met with Secretary Pompeo several times. And I'm also seeing Lee Soo-yong, who's the head of the ruling party's International Affairs Department. I've just mentioned that he's a diplomacy expert in North Korea.
Well, it is a who's who of the North Korean leadership, as you would expect for a summit of this magnitude. We will...
And some Vietnamese citizens welcoming the North Korean leader.
Yeah, there's a bit of a scrum going on with cameramen trying to jostle for the best position to get the best image of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. But we can see him much clearer now that he stepped out of the station. We can see his generals behind him, his mini army of bodyguards ready to protect him. And so he's getting straight into his limousine where he will be driving to Hanoi, to his hotel, try and get a bit of rest before the next 2 days, which promise to be a couple of days packed with diplomacy. And Jung-hee, like you say, this really is a proud day for the people of Vietnam as well. North Korea and Vietnam share a great many things in common, including their political ideologies.
Yeah, of course. I mean, another reason why Vietnam was chosen as the summit venue was because it's not only because of the rapid economic growth that Vietnam achieved, but it's also because Vietnam has maintained its Communist Party in terms of achieving a free market economy. So, yeah, I mean, what North Korea wants is to keep its communist regime, and in terms of that, Vietnam is a very good exemplary case. And Vietnam and North Korea actually had a lot of ups and downs in terms of their diplomatic relations since 1950s, and also, I mean, in 2017, I mean, North Korean leader's half-brother, you know, in terms of an alleged killing of his half-brother, it appeared that a Vietnamese woman is involved, and that's when the relations between the two countries actually went to the, you know, lowest level. But, you know, it's restored again. North Korea's foreign minister has visited Vietnam to learn from the economic development model, and here we're seeing Kim Jong-un and his delegation to see Vietnam, and possibly, you know, it's about 2-hour or 3-hour drive to Hanoi, and on this way, nothing's for sure, but Kim Jong-un could visit some of, you know, some facilities, industrial facilities in the country.
And as we mentioned, the trip will take a couple of hours, and Hanoi is starting the process as well of going into lockdown, as it will stay that way for the next 2 days as Kim Jong-un and President Trump stay in the Vietnamese capital. The entire city will be on lockdown for the duration of their trip until they safely leave Hanoi. We are seeing Chairman Kim's vehicle leave the station now. He is being ushered along by his team of bodyguards there. We'll see how long they keep up the chase. No, it has
Seen right now here is the hotel where North Korean leader Kim Jong-un should be taking off. We do not see the stern bodyguard that was directly staring at the camera just now, Jung-hee.
We're just everywhere that North Korean leader was heading to, for example, the North Korean embassy in Hanoi, we could see a lot of Vietnamese citizens gathering up just to catch at least, you know, one scene of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un walking, getting out of the car, waving at people. It seems like they have high expectations for the summit, as well as very high attention on the North Korean leader himself.
Well, in Singapore, he was quite a celebrity, just taking casual strolls and even selfies with regular citizens there.
It was an unexpected, you know, stop. It was an unexpected visit that he would make to the Marina Bay Sands with some of the top Singaporean officials, and taking selfies, looking at the nightscape of Singapore, directly looking into the economic development that Singapore was able to achieve as a hub nation in Southeast Asia.
It was a rainy day when he arrived, and it seems it's President Trump. Trump has arrived at the Metropole.
Yes, some vehicles with American flags are making their way to a certain spot, and we think it'll be President Trump arriving at Sofitel Legend Metropole for his one-on-one conversation with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, as well as the social dinner.
And dinner with a very sophisticated menu that's supposed to be kept extra simple, according to the leaders of both sides. The car, I believe, is something unique on the American side. It's got a nickname called the Beast, I believe, according to some reports. It's certainly getting a lot of attention, and I'm sure a lot of car companies lobbied to make sure they had the chance to be a part of the summit, as for the North Korean leader as well.
Regime.
And hopefully Donald Trump is learning the ropes as he moves along to not really aggressively shake hands and do it for a prolonged period of time. This is an exciting moment for the people of Vietnam, as well as, of course, those of us watching from Korea and the United States as well. There are growing expectations as to what could come out of this summit. Partly, Professor Wu, because the first one was a rather disappointment, and I understand you got into a bit of a trouble by calling it not such a successful one after the summit ended.
So last year, many observers expected that there's going to be a big deal, which means that North Korea is going to fully denuclearize, and the U.S. and the international community is going to provide the lifting of those sanctions and some economic aid to North Korea. So that kind of one-shot deal is going to make a huge difference in the Korean Peninsula and the region. However, it ended up with some kind of abstract agreement between two leaders on the bilateral relations and the perpetual peace on the Korean Peninsula, and the denuclearization and the repatriation of the remains of the U.S. soldiers. So one of the expectation from there was that two countries are going to have a working level negotiation from July, but we have to wait it for like 8 months until we saw this kind of working level negotiations with the summit in February this year. So last year's summit was meaningful in that it actually decreased the tensions on the Korean Peninsula, and North Korea, as President Trump reiterated that North Korea has not tested any nuclear or missile tests since then. So it's just meaningful, but whether it has been there's any kind of like expedition for the denuclearization of North Korea, we have some doubt. So that is why we have a bigger hope this time that they are going to produce some kind of meaningful result with regard to the denuclearization of North Korea.
A much softer handshake and immediate exchange of pleasantries and smiles, always a good sign.
Intimate smiles on their face.
But it seems like the Kim Jong-un's face is more tense than last year.
Right.
He has more smile last year, but he shows some kind of tenseness.
Trump is.
Have you walked back at all on the denuclearization in North Korea? No. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Mr. President, do you think the end of the Korean War, sir? We'll see. Thank you all very much. You're coming back.
So it looks like President Trump is not trying to give out much details about his one-on-one conversation and social dinner with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. We weren't able to hear the questions, but I could hear what Trump said. He said no, and he said we'll see. So definitely we could read that he was not willing to speak much about the upcoming schedules.
Which is an unusual side of Trump that we're seeing, because usually he takes to Twitter almost immediately whenever he has thoughts, and he's very candid when it comes to speaking with reporters.
So there was like this story that to be nominated for the Nobel Prize.
Sorry.
Still from the outside. But however, we have been able to overcome all the obstacles, and here we are today after different
I think we had to think a lot about this, and a lot of efforts were needed.
I believe that those 261 days were the days during which a lot of painstaking efforts were necessary, and also a lot of patience were needed.
But as I see you today, and I hope that we can make fruitful achievements that many people are awaiting for, and I will strive my best.
And we would be successful this time, and I would really try to make that happen.
Thank you. That's really nice. Well, I wanted to say it's an honor to be with Chairman Kim. It's an honor to be together in really a country, Vietnam, where they've really rolled out the red carpet, and they're very honored to have us. And it's great to be with you. We had a very successful first summit. I felt it was very successful. And some people would like to see it go quicker. I'm satisfied. You're satisfied. We want to be happy with what we're doing. But I thought the first summit was a great success, and I think this one hopefully will be equal or greater than the first. And we made a lot of progress, and I think the biggest progress was our relationship is really a good one.
대단히 감사합니다. 김정은 위원장을 다시 만나게 되어서 영광입니다. 그리고 또 오늘 같이 하게 되어서 또 매우 기쁩니다. 우리가 베트남에서 만났습니다. 베트남이 아주 우리를 굉장히 환영을 하고 레드카펫을 깐 것처럼 그렇게 환영하고 있습니다. 우리는 첫 번째 그 정상회담을 굉장히 성공적으로 마쳤습니다. 어떤 사람들은 우리의 어떤 진전이 더 빨리 갔으면 하고 그렇게 원하는 사람도 있지만 내가 보기에는 우리가 상당히 잘하고 있고 또 첫 번째 그 정상회담이 굉장히 성공적이었습니다. 이번 회담도 첫 번째 것과 같은 성공 또는 아니면 더 성공하기를 바라고 있습니다. 그리고 우리는 아마 이번에 더 많은 진전을 이룰 것 같습니다.
And as I've said many times, and I say it to the press, I say it to anybody that wants to listen, I think that your country has tremendous economic potential, unbelievable, unlimited. And I think that you will have a tremendous future with your country, a great leader. And I look forward to watching it happen and helping it to happen. And we will help it to happen.
우리 그 여러 번 제가 얘기를 했고 또 언론들한테도 제가 여러 번 했습니다만은 저는 조선이 엄청난 경제적인 잠재력을 가지고 있다라고 그렇게 생각합니다. 그리고 앞으로 큰 성공을 이룰 거로 생각합니다. 위대한 지도자입니다. 그래서 그리고 앞으로 그러한 성공을 저는 계속 보게 되기를 기대하고 있습니다.
Thank you all very much. We appreciate it. And we're going to go have dinner. And then we have some big meetings scheduled for tomorrow. And we'll see you, I guess, at a news conference at some point during the day. Thank you very much. It's a good time. You are. I hope so. One of the greatest photographers of the world.
And a translator.
That was very good. One of the great photographers.
We had a meeting for about 20 minutes before coming here. It was about 30 minutes, I guess. And for that time, our conversation was very interesting.
Boy, if you could have heard that dialogue, what you would pay for that dialogue, that was good. So we're going to have a very busy day tomorrow, and we'll probably have a pretty quick dinner. And a lot of things are going to be solved, I hope, and I think it'll lead to really a wonderful situation long term. And our relationship is a very special relationship.
오늘 그 말씀한 다음에 또 내일은 일종일 아주 진지하게 회담할 예정입니다. 우리는 굉장히 좋은 관계를 가지고 있고 아마 성공적인 회담으로 생각이 됩니다.
Well, it's looking like a very lighter atmosphere compared to when they first sat down, and the lights suddenly went off for some unexpected special event that we did not get a closer look at.
Much lighter, and of course, much lighter when they first exchanged their greetings before the press. The two leaders actually seemed very tense, very rigid, but now it seems like they're relaxed, ready to have dinner, ready to have a good dinner. They're smiling, intimate smiles. So, just to give our viewers what's quote, very interesting. And the U.S. President Donald Trump says a lot of things will be solved tonight, if I heard that correctly. And he said he hopes that